charmed life, as you see, must be a charmed life. You're with me. I never dreamed in all of my palmiest days, with you skies, I view skies as blue skies. Wherever I gaze, a child of fortune and for true. I've got a fortune, I've got you. It's nice to know that there are two as happy as we, and that you can lead a charmed life with me.
My name is Russell, sometimes Russ Garcia.
My name is Gina Garcia, and I was born in Brooklyn, New York.
And I was born in Oakland, California, because I wanted to be near my mother. Can you cut things out? Music, 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 nothing but music. I lived and breathed music since I was a tiny child.
And as a little child, I used to sing in the pizza parlor. My grandfather used to get me up because I could sing in Italian, and it was a lot of fun. And so my love for music started way back then.
My brother brought home an old cornet that he bought for $5, held together with sellotape and Band-Aids. I quick learned to play it, so my folks got me a better instrument. Then we formed a little band in junior high school. I wanted to write music, so I went down and bought a couple of piano copies of popular songs at that time. I put everything in the piano part I could into the band, and it sounded horrible. And so I started analyzing. I'd study printed music, and I'd listen analytically to music. And pretty soon I got so I could write a good arrangement, just on trial and error. I've learned to write music for orchestra down without using the piano. Everybody who's seen a movie thinks the composer's got to play at the piano and write it down. It's a language. You can write down what I say, what you say. I can write down what I think. Well, I can do that with music. It's just another language. Anything I hear in my head. But I can hear the whole orchestra in my head, and then I can write it down on paper. Of course, I've studied a few years. I've been writing music for 80-some years. I started writing when I was about 9 years old.
Well, actually, I was out with a friend of Russell's.
Used to be a friend of mine.
And Russell had been working at this dance hall for about 3 months, and it was during that time that I actually got to meet him. Back in Los Angeles, now 1949, and he was playing trumpet in the band.
And this fella that I knew, very briefly, I'd met him a few times, brought Gina in dancing. When I saw her, I nearly fell off my chair.
I saw you, and my heart skipped a beat, felt a thrill from my head to my feet. And for some reason, he must have been very attracted to me, because I didn't know him from Adam, and he didn't know me from Adam. My date had to go to the little boys' room and left us alone.
That was his mistake.
And so as a result, of course, Russell asked me for a date. And I think I was just so shocked, I said, okay.
I had 4 brothers, no sisters. So I didn't know anything about girls. Gina's father didn't want us to get married because, first of all, I wasn't a good Italian Catholic boy, and I'd been married before, and I had 2 children. Gina was just a child then.
I didn't realize it. If I'd really known how old she was, I would have run like a scared rabbit.
She made a true statement. She said, I'll be 20 on December 4th. She didn't say what year.
Well, when we actually got married, I was 21. Our daughter was 10. She had just had a 10th birthday in October, and David was 11.
And then I chased her until she caught me.
But Gina was the perfect wife for me. Still is.
We had music all the time, yes. That was one of the things I think that really endeared us maybe to some of the people. Everywhere we went, we would sing and get people to sing with us. Often we would start children's choirs, you know, on every island.
Formed the first Baha'i choir here in Samoa. Of course, they all sang Toko Zani and Love Your Neighbors and Friends. We've been Baha'is 50 years.
As we were studying the faith and we were getting very close, we couldn't sleep at night. We'd come home, you know, like from our study classes, even fireside, and we would be so stimulated. You know, I used to say I could feel the blood going right through my limbs. It was a very, how do I describe it? An unusual sensation.
I was in the American infantry in World War II.
I said if I ever got out of there half sane and alive, I was going to find answers. So I was searching into everything to do with world peace.
Then our daughter's
Ballet teacher
handed us a book. And she said, Russ, I know you and Gina are interested in this kind of thing. Read this book. It was the new era, and I loved a lot of things I read, and I disagreed with a lot of things I read. So I went to one of these firesides. I came home about 2:30 in the morning. I'd kept those poor people up so late with questions and arguments.
In fact, we didn't want religion. I have to go back to that. We wanted a pattern for life. Not only did we go to the informal firesides where we we would hear someone give a very interesting talk and people would ask questions, there would be discussion. My attraction to the Baha'i faith was not because of, even though its main thing is peace, I was more interested from the spiritual progress of the soul. That's really fascinated me even when I was a child.
This universe is so fantastic, it's so orderly. All these planets and stars swinging around in such order that I knew there had to be some intelligence, something behind it. All my life I believed in some force.
I always thought of God as really an unknowable essence.
You know, in fact, I think it's the only thing that could bring world peace. Could bring the religions together, the races together, the countries together.
I honestly wish I could say I had a wonderful revelation, but I didn't. I only know I woke up and I said to Russell, I've decided I'm going to become a Baha'i, just like that. And he said, oh, that's great.
I didn't tell her I was going to become a Baha'i too. So she's actually 10 minutes older than I am, if you'd believe that, as a Baha'i, of course. So I went to university for a year, and I wasn't really learning anything. It sounds unhumble, doesn't it? But the teachers there had learned out of the books, and they were teaching out of the books, and I was already a professional. I could compose and I could arrange, and they couldn't. So after a year I gave up and I went on the road with the big bands. That was a big band era. I don't know where I learned to read music. It seemed like I've been able to read music as a small child. At school, the teachers were kind of astounded because I could read a tenor part or an alto part from the music and sing it. There were two wonderful musicians at the high school and took me under their wing, and I was taught harmony, counterpoint, orchestration. I got to conduct the orchestra in high school. I got to write pieces for the high school orchestra, and they would play them. And I was so fortunate